Go ahead and call the board meeting to order. Let the record show that all the aldermen are present. Mr. LaPena will lead us in the invocation, and Mr. Impey in the pledge. Please stand.
Okay, we bow our heads, please. Lord God in heaven above, thank you for this good city of Ocean Springs. May our meeting tonight allow us to continue to grow and prosper. As we approach the holiday of Thanksgiving, a day which we'll enjoy our friends, a day of bounty, and may we also always be mindful of the people around us who are less fortunate. And God, we pray for the people who are ill or sick, their families, their friends, and especially those who take care of them. God be with us all. God bless us all. For all these things we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
It says amended agenda. We have an amendment on there.
No, that was a no.
Okay. Who made the motion? Rob.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Cox. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a proclamation. Is anyone from the Ocean Springs Rotary Club here? So this is congratulating the Ocean Springs Rotary Club for 100 years of service to the Ocean Springs community. Whereas the Ocean Springs Rotary Club, founded on May 14, 1924, and officially chartered on October 20, 1924, was sponsored by the Rotary Club of Biloxi and counted 19 charter members, including F.E. Schmidt as president, O.L. Bailey as vice president, L.M. McEwen as secretary-treasurer, Matt Huber as sergeant-at-arms, A.C. Gaucher and Theodore Bechtel as the other board members. Whereas the Ocean Springs Rotary Club has established a profound legacy of community service and fellowship, marking it as a fundamental pillar of the Ocean Springs community. And whereas this distinguished organization has exemplified the Rotary International motto, service above self, and played a pivotal role in making Ocean Springs a better place to live and work for 10 decades. Whereas the Rotary Club of Ocean Springs has further served a crucial role in enhancing local education by supporting schools and educational programs, as well as awarding scholarships to deserving students. Whereas the club's involvement in community beautification projects and contributions to the local international humanitarian efforts have greatly improved the quality of life for the residents of Ocean Springs and beyond. And whereas the club has made significant contributions to the city of Ocean Springs, notably assisting with the installation of the fountain on the west entrance of the Mary C. O'Keefe Cultural Center, sponsorship of the education room, and Mary C. O'Keefe Cultural Center. Over the years, they have partnered with various other organizations and endeavors. Whereas in addition to the philanthropic endeavors, the Rotary Club of Ocean Springs places a strong emphasis on fostering fellowship and camaraderie among its members, which it facilitates by hosting weekly meetings, social gatherings, and networking opportunities. Whereas the club's ability to adapt and evolve with the changing needs of the residents of Ocean Springs has made it an enduring symbol of hope, service, and leadership that continually makes significant contributions to the betterment of the community. And whereas it is abundantly fitting and proper that this outstanding accomplishment of this extraordinary organization over the past century be appropriately recognized. Now, therefore, I, Kenny Holloway, Mayor of the City of Ocean Springs, do proudly present this proclamation in congratulating the Rotary Club of Ocean Springs on the grand occasion of its 100th anniversary and extend sincere best wishes. It's a mouthful. Extend sincere best wishes for more years of successful service to the citizens of Ocean Springs, and hereby proclaim Tuesday, November 19, 2024, as Rotary Club of Ocean Springs Day.
I read that without reading it, but
I will have to read it tomorrow night.
Say you want mine.
Thank you.
100 years is a lot.
Next item on the agenda, we have a public hearing. It's rezone parcel number 6012804.2.000, northwest side of Government Street at Paps Road, from R1A Apartment District to CH Residential Regional Commercial. Planning Commission recommends approval. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Aldermen, second by Mr. Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Carter, you want to explain?
Sure. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me then? Okay. Thank you. The particular zoning category, well, just to talk about the adjacent zoning of the properties, there is CH to the north, there is R1A to the south, and there's also CH to the west. The applicant is requesting the zoning change from R1A Special Use District to CH Commercial. Staff did review the requirements for the rezone, and staff recommends approval.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who would, does anyone from the board have any questions first? Okay, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak for or against the rezoning? So come on up.
Good evening. My name is Donovan Scruggs of 317 Pine Drive here in Ocean Springs, and I'm representing the owner of James Green, who is also WJ Properties of Ocean Springs. I have a presentation I can sort of go into and provide you a lot of good information regarding this. The primary issue that I want to bring is that the basis of the rezoning is on a change in neighborhood character. If you look at the way the property has developed over the past 20 years, it has become more commercial in nature. More recently, you had a gym constructed basically just across the railroad tracks to the north that represents a change in character. And then the Zayed Boatyard that is located to the northwest is also a significant change. The property is bounded on three sides by commercial property, CH, so I do think that this should not be considered a spot zone. The property is zoned for R1A, which is identified as a special apartment district or luxury apartment district in your zoning code. Currently, there is a moratorium on apartment buildings in Ocean Springs, so it's almost as though the permitted, the use that we have, which is R1A, is a use that cannot be developed. So the request to go with the CH is something that would be more beneficial to the property owner. The property owner does own the adjacent property to the west and the adjacent property to the south, and both of those properties are zoned CH. So in a sense, it's making this property, which he owns, consistent with other properties that he owns. To the south of this property, the southwest of this property is Rooms 2. So you're looking at a convenience store that's been there for a number of years that is commercial in nature. I will note that property to the south, which is A&A Automotive, which is owned by Mr. Green, was rezoned several years ago. It was split zone to accommodate the construction of his building, which also provides evidence of a change in neighborhood character. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, go through the comprehensive plan and consistency with that document, or anything else you have, but otherwise I'll report up and answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Scruggs? Okay, thank you, Donald.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak in favor or against the rezoning? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Wade, second by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to approve the rezone of parcel number 601-28042.000, north side of Government Street and Paps Road from R1A Apartment District to CH Regional Commercial.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Papania. Any further discussion? Need a roll call, please?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is agenda public comment. The public is invited to address the board for up to 3 minutes each for a maximum period of 30 minutes, only regarding issues listed on this agenda. Please identify yourself and the agenda item before speaking. Okay, we're moving on to old business. Discuss moratorium on residential short-term rentals in high and low density areas. Mr. Hoffman?
Yeah, I wanted to discuss this with the board. Being on planning commission before, short-term rentals were actually an ordinance. There were a lot of it going on in the city, and we had some issues that sparked us getting an ordinance for it. Since that time, I think we've come a long way. We've been able to control a lot of it, had not had a whole lot of trouble with it, but there are some things I think that need to be looked at in the ordinance as far as moving forward. 3 things that I looked at that I felt needed to be looked at is short-term rentals come to the board or come to the planning commission and the board as a public hearing, and it gives the public time for public input. But we can't really use the public input because the way the ordinance is written, as long as they fit all the guidelines that the ordinance has in it, then we're basically asking people for public input and not being able to follow through with it. So that's one thing that I would like to look at in the ordinance. The other thing is, I don't believe that the intent was never to do rentals on accessory structures. R1 neighborhoods are single family, and I don't think that at the beginning when the ordinance came out that it was intended for people or for homeowners to fix up secondary dwelling structures on their property to be able to rent them out and have 2 different dwellings on an R1 piece of property. And then last, the biggest thing is I don't believe that having 2 on a street changes the character of the street. I do think that when you get saturation on a street, that could change the character of the street. And those are the 3 things that I'm interested in amending the ordinance for. Now, whether we have to put a moratorium, and let me make it perfectly clear that what I'm doing is not interfering with anything that's going on in the city at this current time. Like I'm not trying to butt into what's going on already. But I just think moving forward that these 3 things are things that we need to look at. And you guys on the board, y'all might have some input on it too as far as amending the ordinance that might need to be tweaked a little bit. You know, I talked to other cities. There are some cities that don't even have an ordinance for short-term rentals, and they're still trying to figure out their way through it if they are going to do it, because there's so much involved in it that it's hard for everybody to come to an agreement for it. And I think that Ocean Springs has done a good job with it up till now. I just think that it's time for us to revisit it and look at at least these 3 things. So whether, whether I can get with the city attorney and come up with amendments and we can bring it to the meeting forward and then have it into effect moving that way, or whether it's a moratorium where we don't accept any more past the cap, then, I can do either one, or I would agree to either one.
You mean during a moratorium in the interim between now and when we get something written up?
To just, not do any more past the cap until we can get the ordinance amended.
Yeah, just from a moratorium perspective, I would say legally, just, we shouldn't limit any, I think we're right at the cap on cap zones. I think we've got applications coming down the line to the board on those. I would advise not to limit those going forward. Obviously, what we're talking about is changing the ordinance going forward as permit renewals come up for renewal, whether proposed language to decrease caps or increase caps, those will be applied going forward as people roll off for their renewal period.
Well, the intention is not that, so if somebody has a secondary dwelling, secondary structure in their yard now, the intention is not to take it away from them if they already had it. But moving forward, I think that's, in my opinion, I don't think that's the intent of what we were trying to do.
I
So
support,
as they renew
Ricky, I
that
support.
scenario, that would not be.
Any new applications.
Yeah, and I'd second that.
That's still on the
Guidelines.
line.
And just what Ricky said,
Yeah.
I'm open to taking any suggestions anyone has and trying to draft up some language to potentially amend it.
But when it comes to public comment, there's going to have to be some thought put into this, that what's going to be what's going to be accepted, that the public can have input that would make a decision that we don't grant a permit for that particular short-term rental.
I would say, Ricky, you're totally correct on this, in that my rub has always been, and the people in Ward 4, is there's no public input, if you will. There's public input, but it doesn't amount to anything. And this secondary thing that people using a separate garage or a garden shop and turning it into a VRBO, that should not, that's something we need to discuss. And the saturation, a street doesn't need to become a hotel. We need, so I agree totally, I support what you're saying, and I think we need to just sit down and talk about this and arrive at what's the right thing to do.
So Will, you think it's possible we can draft something that we can have maybe the next meeting and then
Absolutely.
look at it then? And
Yeah,
then
I'll follow up with you and we'll work on some language. And again, if anyone has thoughts, send them to me.
Anybody has any
I have a
thoughts? You wanna-
question. How are we going to handle accessory dwelling units? Because that is a permitted use in several of the zoning districts throughout the city, but there are restrictions. You have to be tied into the water and sewer for the principal structure, and then you have to you have to get a certified letter saying that one person will reside on the property for an accessory dwelling unit, so we just might want to think about that.
Most people that have
One of the
accessory,
owners should reside on the property. is what-
most people that have accessory dwelling structures had them because either they bought a house from somebody that had a house that was taking care of aging parents or had kids that lived there. And, but I still think that if you have a R1 piece of property and you have two different families that are staying on it, whether it's long-term or short-term rental, that's two families on a single-family dwelling lot. And I think that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and I think writing that specifically into section 510 in the short-term rental ordinance, that, just disallowing accessory structures as short-term rentals.
Maybe we should put it in the permitted use chart as well, just to show in the permitted use chart that where it's allowed and where it's not.
Because there's a lot of them out there that I'm pretty sure didn't even get permits. They just had structures that they made into dwelling structures. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item under old business is discuss obtaining professional services for land use and zoning assistance in the newly annexed areas.
Carter Thompson, Community Development Director for the City of Ocean Springs. I'm coming before you to ask for assistance with rezoning the annexed area. I certainly have come up with the analysis, the beginning part of the analysis and some nomenclature and things of that nature, but I will need assistance just from a capacity standpoint. And one of the, I would like to go with a land use firm. And the reason I would like to take that approach is I think it's important that we have a planner on staff. I'm a planner. I think it's much more important and that we have a land use attorney that could just handle the annexed areas in case there's any legal challenges. They'll understand why the zoning was picked, why we took that route. I would work very closely with them. One of the firms that I looked at was Wise Carter. They're out of Biloxi. I asked somebody from Wise Carter to be here if you guys have any questions. I don't know if they're in the audience. Oh, how do you do, sir? They handled they've handled annexations for other, I think it was Jackson County. Is it Jackson?
David worked on some.
Oh, okay.
Harrison County.
So he's here if you choose to ask questions. I don't know if you guys have any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Carter or anyone from the firm? Or any comments about the use of this service?
I guess the cost is the biggest question. Moving
Well-
forward, what will we be looking at?
Yes, sir. I mean, it's not, it's going to cost for sure, but this is my thought process. I would be hard pressed. I would be in total shock if we have absolutely zero legal challenges from the annexed area rezoning. We might do everything perfect and somebody still decides that they want to challenge us. That way we have one law firm, one contract that is simply focusing on that. Rezoning an annexed area, rezonings period can be very, very tricky. And I really feel like that we need that focus on the annexed area. It's not going to be an easy task. And we have to be very, very thoughtful in how it's done.
Mr. Simpson, you want to enlighten the board on what your firm actually does?
Sure. Excuse me, Jim Simpson with Wise, Carter, Child, and Caraway Law Firm. My office is actually in the Hancock Bank in Gulfport. David Goff and I, from my attorney, have been honored to be able to submit and offer to provide services and work with your planner and your attorneys to assist you to the extent you need this. I know the mayor, but I don't think I know most of you, so just a brief background. I was sitting here thinking, I think I've represented every kind of state public agency there is. I've represented the state. I was city attorney in Long Beach for 20 years. I've represented Harrison County. I've represented the utility authority. I represented planning commissions. I've been involved in a number of annexations in the city of Long Beach. I've handled a whole lot of zoning matters. I've even, litigated some zoning matters, won a few of them. So I've been involved in actually representing government entities has been involved my whole career. I've been doing that. My first public client was the school district in 1987, and I've still got them. So I've been doing it a long time. Some of you may know me from political realm. I served in the House of Representatives for quite a long time and finished that. I served on the state court for a while. I think a couple of things. The only thing I could tell you that I could offer is I am accustomed to working for public bodies. I understand how it works. I understand the rules. I understand a great deal about public records and public meetings, and I understand the necessity for transparency and openness and clarity. I know who the boss is. I tell people frequently I'm an enlisted man. I'm not an officer. I give advice and I give expertise, but I don't make decisions. You guys have to answer to the public, so you make decisions. My job is to help you with that and then defend the decisions that you ultimately choose. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have. The cost on things like this, we work hourly. We would work under the oversight of Ms. Thompson and your city attorneys. We don't want to do their work. We would like to supplement them and help as however you need. I'd be glad to answer any questions you like.
Also, if it makes any difference, I have a daughter who lives in Ocean Springs. You never know.
Does anybody have any questions?
I was just wondering when we might be able to see a proposal.
We sent in just I hate to use this term, a plain vanilla engagement letter. It's the form we use for just about every client. We fill in the blank about what the services are and what the rates are and things like that, but it's just a proposal to work by the hour, and it's at will. If of course, lawyers are always that way. You wake up one morning and you find a different lawyer, or you don't like this lawyer, you just hire a new lawyer. It's just an at-will basis. The letter's long because it's just boilerplate.
We've also spoke to Butler Snow, so we've got something from them. And then I think there's one other one. I'd be happy to send you all the three that were being looked at.
Yeah, this is primarily for discussion tonight. There's not any action to be taken.
Look at all things proposed.
Yeah, let's get those out to us. I mean, we could have had that earlier.
Why was off Friday? Yeah.
Understandably.
That's fine. I like having somebody local.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Now, excuse.
Yes, sir.
Got a basketball game.
Okay.
Mayor, I actually think this is probably the best route to take, in my personal opinion, so I'd like to see all the proposals and.
Yeah, and I think it'd be nice to have somebody local.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Good deal. Does anybody have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
Mayor?
Yes.
So are we going to wait 2 weeks to make that decision since time is of the element, or would you all like for me to send it out?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Let's get
We don't have
the
to get
information to us.
everybody. Yeah, we're bumping up against
Do that tomorrow.
Thanksgiving here, so.
Yes.
So can we get the authority to
Well,
prepare them and?
Yeah, I'll just work with you all through blind copy, just to me. You'll work just
Okay.
with me and the mayor each.
Okay, does anybody have anything to pull from the consent agenda?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Just informational.
You can in public comment, just a second. Okay, and in public comment, just a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda? Is there a motion to pull the consent agenda?
Consent agenda.
Motion by Mr. Hoffman.
Second.
Second by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Department reports, does anyone have anything to pull from the docket of claims?
Make a motion to approve the docket of claims. All expenditures are appropriate and authorized by law, and spread the summary upon the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Blackman, second by Mr. Cox. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Does anybody have any questions about the sewer adjustments? Is there a motion to authorize sewer adjustments?
Make a motion to authorize sewer adjustments.
Motion by Mr. Wade, second by Mr. Aldermen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a report from the city clerk on modernization. Patty?
I was just reporting how our money went this year and that we made our guidelines. So we'll receive all that we can get through Senate Bill 2492 toward, and they did add that we could have property or equipment related to the repair, maintenance, and reconstruction. This is some of the money that is going to be used hopefully for Dina Road. That's one thing that's been slotted to this funds. It also did a lot of the concrete panels that's been done throughout the city. We're mainly trying to use it for roads. That's been our main objective, to give us an avenue for that.
You weren't supposed to tell everybody concrete.
Sir?
That's with me.
That was definitely spent in Ward 5.
The good news is we have a formula we have to meet every year in the match, and I just like to put it on the agenda so we all know that we made our formula.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Patty on that? Okay. Parks and Recreation, non-renewal of Highway 57 Sports Complex concession services contract and permission to advertise for RFPs. Stephen?
Yes, our contract's up with the concessions, and I would like, with your permission, to go out for bids to do our concessions in the next 2 years.
Who's going to handle it in the transition? Like, are they gonna continue to do it until somebody else is appointed, or who's gonna do it?
The contract's up to January 1. We
Oh,
won't
okay.
do anything to the middle of February. It's just a good time to wait and
Okay.
get the process started. I didn't want to wait till January till the contract's out and dry.
So the ball fields are not gonna be left with no concessions?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
Bobby, you go out there and do it.
Okay, we need a motion on
I'll
this.
make a motion to approve the non-renewal of the service contract with P&H Concession effective December 31st, 2024, and authorize advertising for RFPs for concession and vending services.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Impey, second by Ms. Burgess. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. General public comment. The public is invited to address the board for up to 3 minutes each for a maximum period of 30 minutes. Only 2 speakers will be allowed per side of each issue. Please identify yourself clearly at the podium before speaking. If anybody would like to address the board, public comment.
I apologize, I'm getting my hearing aids and hearing through the YouTube, so there's a delay because there's no hearing assistance in here. The question I have is, every government I've ever worked with or for has a...
Excuse me, sir, state your name first, please.
Sorry, Michael Pfeiffer, 716 Hidden Oaks. Has, in essence, bid requirements for professional services or, that type of contract. And I don't know how you all do it. I've been through several meetings here where attorneys have been picked and contracts have been approved, but I've never seen bids. I've never seen criteria for their qualifications, comparisons, or anything like that. And it boggles my mind. I mean, we have a planning department, okay, and I can understand that there are times with big projects they might need outside assistance, but we got a lot of lawyers providing assistance to the city in a lot of areas, and some of which are not even under litigation right now, and it's just, where are we going to find out how you pick the attorney other than somebody knows somebody? And that's basically what it sounds like. And I don't want to attribute that to you. I just don't know what the process is, and I would appreciate if you could educate us. Thank you.
Will, you want to make a comment on professional services?
Generally, there's no state law, actually, it's not mandated, but a state law to hire professional services. I mean, to bid out professional services.
We, on engineering services, we put out an RFQ, and all the engineers provide their RFQs to us, and then we select engineering services out of that. So that's how we do the engineers. We don't hire a whole lot of outside legal
And I will
consultants.
say, to add just to tonight's discussion, for, if the city, whoever they determine, if they determine to go forward with Wise Carter or whoever, we'll need to do that via special call just to approve that contract. So that'll be on the record as well.
Right. Okay. Anyone else who would like to address the board public comment?
Bill Moore, Ward 2, this is probably just kind of shouting into the wind because this is an MDOT project and I know y'all aren't MDOT, but I went out there, the roundabout that they're doing, I mean, it'll be great when it's done, but it is a long project. I went out there Friday, looking around, it was a beautiful sunny day, it's great, would have been, they could have done most anything outdoors activity they wanted to do, and I went out and there were 3 people there, kind of the foreman, and one person was actually doing something, and I talked to the guy and I said, well, what's going on, what's your timeline? And he said, they were supposed to start paving tomorrow, but they kicked it down the road a couple weeks. And I asked him who was responsible, and he just kind of, it's MDOT. And so I don't know whether any of y'all have any ongoing dialogue with him, but I mean, you've seen the traffic on 90, so whoever can push him along and say, it's a great day to be pouring concrete, that would be really helpful.
Thank you, Doc.
Thanks.
Thanks, Doc.
Anyone else who would like to address the board?
Ellen Hall, 1217 Sunset Drive, Ocean Springs. In your response, Kenny, where you said that you issue an RFQ and then the contractors give you their RFQs. So request for quotation, then they give proposals. We're still trying to find out where the RFQ or request for proposal, the request for quote went out for Cypress Engineering, and all the proposals that came in from the different vendors. We've been putting in requests for that data, and we have not sufficiently gotten an answer to that, so we would like to get that.
Yeah, and Mayor, her husband has submitted a public records request. He's threatened an ethics complaint, so I would advise not to comment, but I am working on any such request to the extent it even exists. It's not required.
Okay.
Yes, so, thank you. So, yes, my husband has been requesting it on behalf of Save OS, but, yeah, we just wanted to see what the process was. That was the question, and we did not get a sufficient answer. We're just asking that. And then this one just kind of seemed a little blurry as well. Having been in government procurement for 30 years, it's just really strange for us to see when you're the caretaker of so much money, $25 million a year, we would expect you to follow some kind of a process like that we could easily see. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Amy Mahedin, 1219 Monticello Boulevard. The general issue I want to address today is the 2045 comprehensive plan. In that plan, there seems to be two issues. One is the annex area and one is the non-annex area. And it appears by April 2025, we have to adopt a comprehensive plan so we can legally zone or rezone or amend the zoning map for the annex areas. But what I would say is there are many alternative solutions without necessarily forcing a 2045 comprehensive plan. I feel like that's only one possible solution, and it neglects the contextual factors of what is making the public riled up for the rest of Ocean Springs. So in particular, I believe that variances could be adopted for the non-conforming uses of the land in the annexed areas and given 6 months. So variances could be applied for 6 months, either, land use variances or area variances, and then until we really figure out the direction of what we want to do with the annex area, how we want to zone it, as well as adapting the entire comprehensive plan for all of Ocean Springs. So I feel like it's premature to go ahead and just to say, well, the annex areas need some kind of zoning, and then we make some premature decisions about the future land use designation of Ocean Springs in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address the board?
My name's Bob Kisa. I live at 4309 Yosemite Drive. I've been living there for 23 years. And the city has ruined my property. I have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. When the city got through with my house now is worth $75,000. That is what it was appraised at. Because you came in there without a permit, without any knowledge, and pulled every one of my trees alongside of my ditch, all right? You then pulled out the French drain that was in my backyard. You then came back a couple weeks later and pounded out the sidewalk in the front of my house. Now, all this stuff was done illegally, and you go to the police department, they say, well, there's nothing they can do about it. Why? You committed a crime. You can't go in and ruin people's property, all right? How about you, Mayor? How would you like to have your property destroyed?
I wouldn't.
What would you do about it?
Bob, we've been through this with you a dozen times. Bobby and I went out, visited with you, we went over it, we tried to help you out, get some trees planted for you. You ran the boards off when they were out there trying to plant them. I really don't know the history of your property because I was not the mayor at the time. I've known what you've told me, I know what I've learned from City Hall.
All about it.
The attorney that handled it there.
You ruined my home. I'm 83 years old. I'm getting ready to die. Okay, I've got stage 4 prostate cancer. I'm going to leave this house to my ex-wife and my son, who's 14 years old, who I had to adopt when my daughter died. Okay. Now, I have been screwed around all my life. I am a World War II survivor. Okay. My mother and her twin sister had a house right across the street from a Catholic school that my grandfather bought from. My mother got pregnant while her husband was overseas. I'm the result of that. When he came home, he walked in the house and threw me out of the house. So I went up to my grandparents' house and lived with my aunt, okay? Now, I survived. When my grandparents finally died, okay, they had a little bit of money. So my mother's husband said, bring him into the house. So first thing he did was buy a new car and then buy a restaurant with her inheritance. The guy was a jerk. He might have been a hero in the war, but I'll tell you one thing, he was a jerk. He bought that restaurant, he would get me up at 3:30 every morning before school, from the time I was 8 years old on, to go to that restaurant and work. Then after school, I would work.
Bob, your 3 minutes are up.
What?
Your 3 minutes are up.
Right, what are you gonna do about my house?
I don't know if we can do anything about it, tell you.
Why?
Sir, we've been through this before, as Alderman said. We've asked for proof that any of this, as far as we understand it, this is not the city's fault. That's going to be the answer going forward.
It's not the city's fault
That's correct.
for coming in without a permit into wetlands?
Sir, you're a nice man. I don't mean to argue with you. You're welcome to come to meetings and talk. I'm not going to stray you from that.
I live in Las Vegas where there's a lot of crooked stuff going on, but nothing like this here. I've seen you guys burn down property where Aldi's was gonna build a thing, nothing. I saw them on the 48.
Thank you, Bob.
access to- You burned that down.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Mark Garrett, Ward Avenue. I just got back in town, so. No. Thanks. So a little short on info, but I got back in town from a mission trip from Africa last night, and I found out about this little amendment to the UDC about the moving the house, this kind of stuff and all. 2.46.
Mark is currently in litigation with the city on this exact issue, so I would advise not to comment on it, but I'll let him finish that with 3 minutes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure this is something, y'all aren't trying to make this retroactive, right? Perfect, and I think this is beautiful. I think this is beautiful. Whoever came up with this, great job. We wouldn't even be having our situation if this was in effect, so whoever did it, great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address the board? Okay, moving on to Alderman's Forum, Alderman Burgess.
So I'm asking to have authorization to install 8 lights along the new construction area on Ocean Springs Road. I met with Singing River Electric and then corresponded with the engineers, BMA, and of course project coordinator Sarah Harris. We have established the poles they're going to be a temporary, but they will be in place before the road opens, which is imperative for safety reasons. We are looking at other options further down for Dina, and then of course for the roundabout, and then we're looking at more aesthetic options, but there are significant lead times on those. So for functionality and safety, I'm asking for authorization to go ahead and get these lights put in.
So I made a motion.
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms.
Make a
Burgess.
motion to,
Second by Mr. Blackman. I met with MDOT a couple of weeks ago in Jackson, discussed this project with them. We're going to have some leftover money. Is that correct? In Ocean Springs Road. So we'll have some leftover money to look at permanently addressing these lights. Okay, any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else? Jennifer, anything else?
no, sorry.
Okay, Ricky?
I have one thing. Tacony work was completed from August 12th of 24 to October 25th, 2024, and it was left off, but I need to make a motion that the Tacony Window Project pay application number 1 for period of August 12th, 2024 to October 25th, 2024 to Steadfast Construction in the amount of $213,707.61 was inadvertently left off the docket of claims for the November 19, 2024 Board of Aldermen recess meeting.
Okay, motion by Mr. Alderman.
Second motion.
Second by Mr. Cox. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good catch, Ricky.
Huh?
Good catch.
I'm good.
Ken?
I'm good, Mayor.
Rob?
Mayor, do you have information, are we still going to finish the Government Street sidewalk project during Thanksgiving break while school's out?
I think that's what.
We'll put a closure out for Monday and Tuesday.
So 2 days, 2-day closure, and that's going to
Giving
wipe this project
everything
clean.
Huh?
That's going to have this project finished out complete.
Giving everything goes well, yes.
All right.
You
Hold you
know
to
how
it.
many days that was that project took? Ouch.
5 years.
Bob does.
I know, like, more than 12, huh?
And it started before my first term, so it started in like 15.
You'll be before any of us were in office.
Yeah.
When that project.
Mayor, give me a minute. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll come back to you. Go ahead.
I just want to take a second and tell Ms. Carter Thompson, the meeting last night that you handled at the annexation, or excuse me, the new zoning annexing. Thank you for handling it very well and very professionally and answering the questions correctly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mike?
It's not, but I feel like Dean is running a close second to that Government Street project. Everybody that knows the Dina Road project story, I mean, we have funding issues and now we run into issues with MDOT. I want to thank the mayor for a meeting with MDOT a couple weeks ago. Hopefully, we're going to get that situation remedied and MDOT get their permit issued so we can go out soon. The money's in the account, go out for bids on that project. Mayor, I appreciate your efforts with MDOT.
Sarah, have you heard from MDOT on that?
No, yeah, they're supposed to contact myself and VMA to set up a meeting to
Okay.
solve it.
We should be hearing something on that this
I know MDOT is a unique state agency. It's interesting to
putting it
deal
mildly.
with. Yeah. And I have get my eyeball on me, a piece of housekeeping here for Parks and Recs. Make a motion to hire Mr. Raymond Parker, Parks Maintenance Technician, effective November 25th, 2024. Pending all pre-employment requirements, a 1-year probationary period with a rate of pay of $16 per hour.
Motion by Ms. Camping.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackman. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. I need a motion to go into closed session to determine the necessity of going into an executive session.
So moved, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Cox, second by Mr. Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The vote is now in closed session. Let's go into closed session.
What are you doing? Good. So those are, you like them better than the. I'm like a voice on my club.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Motion made by Kim Papania, seconded by Mike Empey for prospective purchase of land, I'm trying to read, for property to improve recreational facilities adjacent to Halsted Courts.